Good evening, one and all. Welcome to the video. My name is Saumil Shah, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you one of the correct architecture for high volume S3 processing. So what I'm about to teach you, or what I'm about to show you in this video, would be the architecture for high volume processing. We are going to implement that architecture right from scratch on AWS. We'll write the code and everything. So this video is going to be really, very nice. So stay tuned and watch till the end. So first of all, what is the traditional way of processing data? So basically, as soon as you have any file on S3, you basically want to trigger a Lambda function, and the Lambda function, let's say, will take that file, transform that file, do some data cleaning, and it will put on another folder, right? That's basically what we mean by processing. Now, one of the problem here is, as the input, the fan in usually increases, sometimes the Lambda might not be able to cope up with the rate at which the input is being poured into the bucket. So for this reason, we have to come up with a nice architecture that can handle such a large amount of traffic. One of such architecture is shown in this diagram right there. We're gonna create all of that, okay? So what it does is basically, as soon as you have anything on the bucket, instead of processing that at the same time, what we do is we basically trigger a Lambda and say, hey, put it on the queue, put it on the queue. So we have this data on the queue, okay? What we do is basically, after that, once the data is on the queue, we pull the items from the queue. So we take item at a leisurely pace, and then we want to process these, and then we want to again put it on S3. So that's kind of an architecture, right, that we want to do. So you can clearly see why, because we are breaking down the dependent stuff. Basically, a file is there, it processes it, it has to wait. What if another file comes, another Lambda, it will fire up. But the first one will, after a while, it cannot handle such a huge amount of traffic. So that's why we want to put things on the queue, and from the queue we can take the item at a leisurely pace, irrespective of how much, or I would say how many times the input is being put it on the bucket. So that's kind of the gist of the idea. So let's get started with this video. So the first thing what we need to do is basically, we want to come on Amazon console. Let me see. Okay, so I'm gonna open Chrome right there. I'm gonna start from scratch everything. I'm gonna create my ImRole and all of that. So yeah, it should be fun. It should be a fun video, I guess. So all right, so let me log in. Scientist. So I'm gonna log into my AWS. I think that's the password, hopefully. All right, so that's the password, right? So what we want to do first of all is basically, we want to come to a ImRole. We want to create a user, right? I'm starting from scratch, so hopefully beginners can also jump in. So click on the user tab, add a user. We want to say YTD, so basically YouTube. Want to give it a programmatic access. We're going to click on next. We want to attach a policy. We're going to give it an administrative policy for now. Gonna click on next, create user. So the user has been created. You wanna copy this on a Jupyter notebook. I have all the snippets, all obviously as usual. So I'm gonna do that quickly. Let me do that, guys. Don't worry, I'm gonna delete this secret key, so you can't mess with that. So let me copy that. Then we need the AWS secret key. So I'm gonna do that one. I'm gonna click on show, copy here, paste, perfect. The reason the region is US East 1. So region name, so US East 1. Okay. Bucket name, basically bucket name would be Saumil Shah 1995. I already have a bucket though, so let me do that. Saumil Shah 1995. Perfect. So what I want to do is, want to get rid of that. I want to get rid of the slots. I usually have this helper codes always for all the AWS stuff usually. So run that. Oops. Run that. Wait, for some reason, just want to make sure everything is okay. For some reason it's not, I think I gotta restart my Jupyter notebook maybe. Okay, now it's working. Perfect. So that's good. Let's run that. Okay, so first step is done. Okay, so we basically created a IAM user with administrative policy. We got the access key, we got the secret, which looks good, pretty good. Want to close that. Head over to the AWS. Want to head over to S3. I have a bucket, so if you don't have a bucket, kindly make one bucket. I already do have it. So Sawmill Shah 1995 bucket. That's the name of my bucket. So copy that because we will learn some. We're gonna learn something here. So actually change that. Perfect. So that's done. Okay. Good. Now, if you see the architecture, the conventional architecture says like this, but instead we're gonna implement the high volume S3 processing. So what we're gonna do is basically say we have JSON documents being poured on the S3. What we wanna do is we wanna convert the JSON into a CSV, whatever. I mean, I'm just making up. So let's try to make this architecture, right? So first of all, we need an S3. Whenever we put some items on S3, we want to trigger a Lambda function, which will put the item into the cube. So what we want to do, hold on. So first of all, I wanna import a couple of libraries here. So I'm gonna say, hey, import OS, because I'm gonna just upload a static file, import sys, import JSON, import boto3. I think that should be pretty good. Okay, so os.listers. This should basically not the 0. This should basically print all the directories in my, all the files in my stuff. So let's do it for the resume. Let's say I wanna, something. I'm just giving you an example, right? So what we wanna do is basically. First of all, we want to put items on S3. We want to make sure that we are able to put an item on S3, or we can also, consider some random JSON data. So let's do that. So I'm gonna create a helper class, instance of my AWS class, which I've already, I've done most of the work. So I would leave all the code, so don't worry about that. So I want to create an instance of a class. Now let's say documents. This is my JSON document, okay? So you know what, guys, I want to also import datetimes for some reason. So import date, come on, Sawmill, date time, import datetime. So I can just if I want to add a date. So let's create some static JSON document. I'm just gonna create something. I want to show you how everything works. So Sawmill Shah, what we want to do, we're gonna say age. I'm 25 years old, right? So I'm 25, and we'll say message. We'll say please. Okay. Just some message. Okay. Oh, oopsie, we have a small error. AWS S3. Oh, that's because I did not run this Jupyter notebook. So we created an instance of a class. Now what I want to do, I want to show you. Okay, so I want to create a key. I want to put this in a folder, right? In an S3, I want to put it inside a folder. So this is how I'm going to do. First of all, let me remove all of that, so you don't have any confusion with that. Delete. There you go, delete, perfect, good. Now I'm gonna say the key as my, let's say all the buckets are being, the file we wanna populate in projects, and okay, and in the projects we wanna say this file as name.json. I'm gonna just use my S3 class that I made, S3 helper dot put items. The IntelliSense should work, perfect, good job. Though this takes a attribute, of course, response. Response is basically a dictionary. This is basically a class I made. So the response has to be documents. Pretty easy. Documents. It also takes a key, and the key would be key. Okay, and run that. We got an ID. Lovely. If I refresh it. Hey, look here, we have a folder, but something, oh yeah, it's working. So what happened is basically we have this project folder, and we have name.json. Woo, yeah, so we have that. Great. So now we want to implement this architecture. So whenever we put something on the S3, we want to trigger a Lambda function. How the hell do I do that? Okay, it should be easy. So head over to S3. I'm gonna just open a Amazon console on a new tab. I'm gonna say, hey, can you go to the Lambda function, please? Okay, you can. Okay. Now we want to do some. You want to create a new function. We're gonna call this as high volume S3 because it's in a, high volume S3 processing. So Python 3.7. Yeah, whatever. We leave it to create a default permission. Yeah, that's fine. So I want to show you what happens, right? So initially that's the way we think of this architecture. The conventional way is basically, whenever anything is there on S3, you trigger a Lambda function. That's the old method, right? I want to show you how everything connects. Okay, so as usual, simple Lambda function, something fancy here. But let's do print event as usual. Save the Lambda function. Okay, good. Want to test it out. Wanna say foo. Basically just want to make sure that the Lambda is triggering perfectly. All right, test. All right, good. We have that. Let's check the logs. Go to monitoring. Want to go to the view. I should have done it in a new browser. That's fine actually. So we have that up. Now I'm gonna just basically make sure the logs are coming. So wanna make sure that the logs are there. So let's see that. Lovely. We have a log and we should see hello world or whatever the event we sent right on the Lambda. So pretty easy so far, so easy, piece of cake, no problem. All right, so there you go. We have that keys, basically the list of events that we passed. Okay, perfect. Now guys, what we want to do is we want to come to configuration back again. Now we want to trigger this Lambda whenever we put anything on the S3. So we click on the add trigger and we want to click on S3. Now look at it, it's saying me the bucket name. Okay, so whenever you enter anything in this bucket, so event type, so basically we want to say like what kind of event, like put object is done or post object or whatever we want to do. So all object create events. Let's do that. All object create events. Prefix optional, basically if you want to make sure that you want to look into certain folders or something like that. Actually yes, I do want to look it into a certain folder. So actually, so basically let me just first of all remove this because it should be I did one small mistake, that is I shouldn't be saying that, because this means that, hey, create a folder and inside that folder create a project. I don't want that, so I'm just gonna come here. Come on, can I delete it? Yeah, it's froze. I gotta refresh this. It's kind of a little slow, so that's fine. So let's go to the bucket. Let me try to select action. That's weird. I am not able to delete that. Come on. I think my computer is freezing for a while, so no worries. Go back. Let's try again. Or otherwise it's fine. Let me see if I can delete it. Okay. Let me see. Action. Perfect. Delete. Okay, delete that one. Thank you so much for deleting it. Okay, so we have that. Good. Now essentially let me run that one again. So perfect. We should see folder being created on the AWS S3, my projects, and same thing, right? Now what we want to do is basically we'll be looking inside this project folder, right? So we want to do our events there. So I can pretty much say on the Lambda function right there. Where is that? Okay, so project. Okay, so if anything comes on the project, okay, do that. Enable trigger. I acknowledge recursive invocation. Okay, add. So let's do that. So so what I'm trying to say is basically now if I put anything on the AWS with let's say name as foo.json, right? So you should see that event being triggered. So now if I run this, okay, we have that, and hopefully this would have triggered a event, right? So hopefully we should see the logs here. So when I close that, I would refresh the logs. So see how I'm doing it step by step, right? Let's see if we have a log of that. We should see some JSON documents. Yeah. It's kind of taking a time a while. All right, so let me see. Okay, I guess that's the one. Come on, what the hell? Let me do by 1 minute. Okay, that's our data. Now what I'm gonna do, usually you see how it's coming up slowly. It's easy, guys. So JSON formatter, you put that, you inspect, you get the item, do JSON.load-as. I mean, straightforward, it's pretty easy, just Python, right? So okay, same thing, we have records, we go inside the records, and if you wanna, let's see, should be there about S3. Oh yeah, so that's the bucket name you can access. That's the ARN of the bucket. So that's the file name exactly that you have. So what you want to do is, instead of triggering the Lambda, you want to put that in the queue, right? So I mean, that's how you would access it, right? So if you want to access, let me see, where is my Lambda? I did this videos, right? So let me see one thing. Okay, so instead of doing this, which is the traditional architecture like this one, instead we want to put it on the, you want to trigger a Lambda, and what we want to do is we want to tell the Lambda to put that message on the queue. Sorry for those annoying pop-ups I have. So far so good. So what we want to do is, this Lambda should put that message on the SNS queue, right? So let me see. So S3 is triggering a Lambda. Now this Lambda one should basically, I'm saying is basically this Lambda should put the data in the queue. Is that right? Yeah, so that should put in the queue. So again, as I said, I have a scaffold here. So for putting the items on the queue, you know, we can send the data response body. So let me do this. Hold on. Let me open IntelliJ for that purpose. I'm not gonna complete it. I'm just gonna show you with the journey from S3 to Lambda to the queue, and then from the queue to Lambda again. Then you, whatever you want, you can do it. So I'll show you in the logs. Okay. So let me take this one here. Let me open my IntelliJ on a new tab. Okay, so that's perfect. Okay, so guys, what I want to do is I want to come back. I'm not gonna edit this video as well. I'm gonna upload it as raw, because you know you will see all the steps that I've taken to make this, right? So yeah, pretty much it, man. So functions. Let me actually go to that high. What was that, high S3? Come on. Okay, so that one. So I'm just gonna like copy the code, because I want to put that data on the SNS queue, right? So copy that Lambda, basic Lambda, easy piece of cake so far. You know, I like some styles. Usually I usually do a try-catch block usually in my programming. So I love IntelliJ, by the way. It's my favorite editor. I love it. So I love all the editors by JetBrains basically. So okay, forget that. Let's get back to action. So hey, import OS, hey, import sys, and then you know what? Hey, why don't you import me boto3? boto3, except simple, exception as E. What I want to do is I want to say, hey, if something goes wrong, I want to see the log, say print error. That's the good format if following the convention, and let's say E. That means okay, good. Now we come here, we come to this one, the Jupyter notebook. I want to copy all the keys. Usually everything is in an environment variable. That's a best practice, but for now I'm just hard coding it. Okay, so you got the idea. What I want to do now is basically I want to put the data on the SNS queue, right? So we can do a high volume S3 processing like this one. So what I want to do instead is, now we have that Lambda, right? So remember I showed you the JSON schema for that. So what we want to do, let me see. We can actually put the raw stuff there as well. You know what, let's do the raw. So now what I want to do is basically, when we have data from this SNS, when we have the data from the event, I want to publish that event to an SNS queue. So hey, again, you know what, simple, easy piece of cake for me. I'm gonna copy all of these, come here to my IntelliJ, pasted, same thing. I have a whole scaffold here, get rid of that one. We have the bucket, we have a queue name, so that's gonna be, we gotta put that, of course. So that's the helper class that I have, and do that. Now what I want to do is I want to create a queue. I want to create a SNS queue. So again, we have this architecture, which is amazing, guys. You have done so far so good. Now let's come to AWS console. We'll create a simple queue. simple queue, which should be again easy. Just a click of buttons, you can say create a queue. And what we want to do, we want to call this queue as test queue. I usually call it test queue because I'm not, whatever. So test queue, we want to call this as test queue. You can of course filter down more stuff if you want, but yeah, let's just create a queue. So we have a queue which is amazing. Put the name there. Now what I want to do, hey, I want to put this data on the queue. So what I can do is I want to come to my IntelliJ. I just want to do one small thing here. So what I'm gonna do here is, so I'm gonna create a queue helper. Simple, easy, piece of cake as usual. So SQS Queue. Now you might be thinking, why am I saying always like simple, easy, piece of cake? But that's called like a mentality, right? If you keep saying that it's easy, now you will actually find it easy. So yeah, I mean, it's all about positivity, right? So that's pretty much it. I mean, so this instance basically will take a queue name, and I can say, hey, that the queue name would be, it's defined as a global variable on the top. I can pass you that. Okay, no problem. That's pretty good. Now what I want to say is, hey, I want to send data to that queue. So I want to say, hey, queue helper dot send, and this takes again, if I've correctly coded my stuff, it takes a JSON dictionary, right? So I'm gonna say message, okay, and that message is gonna be, guess what, event. Perfect, because it has details about our S3. Perfect, good. So now we want to say, we can just do a message, hey, uploaded on queue. So we are implementing the best thing, best of best architectures. Perfect, that looks absolutely great. Lovely. Let's remove that, fire that up. Want to call the save button. So now we have the trigger, it's going to trigger this. Now this should be triggering our SNS queue, and what we can do is after SNS queue we can trigger, guess what, Lambda functions. So that's pretty easy again. So we have all of these architecture right there. What I'm gonna do now is let's come to the bucket again. So we have this project, and inside a project we have one file called, what is it, name or foo or whatever. So we have that. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna publish one more file there. Let's also give some data here, like count or something. 22. That's fine. Okay, perfect. So again, create an S3 instance, and I'm going to change the name to foo.json. Now I'm going to run that one. So what should happen, ideally, I'm expecting is it should put the data on the S3, will trigger Lambda will put to the queue, and from queue, of course, we can poll again, right? So that's done. Good job. So hopefully if I run this, I don't see that key, and there you are, foo.json is right there. So this should trigger a Lambda function. The Lambda log should be there on the CloudWatch. Pretty easy as usual, piece of cake, right? So we refresh this, we have the log. That's nice, that's amazing. Now we go to the queue and we say uploaded on the queue. That should be having in the queue. Let's check our queue. I'm excited now. Okay, so we go to the queue, we have one message. Yeah, so amazing. So we have the message in the queue, which is amazing. You can oh, not that one. I actually wanted to poll the queue. So what I can do is I can say send or receive messages, and I want to poll that message. I want to show you it's actually working. You see, so we have this message body, and look at that, we have it right here. So amazing. So we have we have the name of the file that was uploaded. Now what you can do in another Lambda, you can trigger this and you can take a do get item, then you can process it and do whatever you want. So I'm just gonna complete this video pretty fast. So all of that, and now what we want to do, okay, I just want to create one more Lambda, right? So should be pretty easy. Piece of cake again. You're gonna open the Amazon Web Console. We go to Lambda, right? We want to go to Lambda. We want to create one, or actually, you know what? I do have a Lambda, maybe. My you know what? Let's just create one. It's fine. S3 trigger. Okay, I'm gonna call the S3 trigger. We have same old school Python 3.7. We use that one. whatever, just leave it to default. And here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you the entire flow of chart, like how it's working. So this should create our Lambda. So we created an architecture, S3, Lambda, Queue, and then back to Lambda. So there we'll, read that item from the S3, process it, do pandas, whatever you want, right? So we have the Lambda here. We have this two Lambda. We have the queue here. So what we want to do in this queue is we want to click on the test queue. We want to say Lambda trigger. We want to configure a Lambda trigger. We want to say, hey, what the hell do you want to do? So I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna tell you what to do. Can you trigger S3? Yeah, that one. So that's gonna trigger invalid value error message of the provided execution does not have a it does not have a permission for SNS SQS Queue. So actually I gotta go and change the role and policy. It happened to me in my previous video as well when I was making it. I gotta I guess it was in the basic settings, I guess. Service role is this. I guess I did create one. Hold on, so I can Lambda, let me try that one. So we gotta just give the Lambda permission, right? So now let me try back. There you go. Whoop. Perfect. So the architecture is complete, right? What we essentially did is, hey, anything, no matter how fast you put the data on the S3, trigger a Lambda, Lambda to Queue, Queue to Lambda, right? And there actually you're leisurely taking data from the queue, polling in the queue, and executing those messages or processing and storing back on the S3 as a CSV, J, whatever you want, right? So you got the idea. So one last time, I'm gonna just trigger, I'm gonna add a message here so you can see the flow of the data. So print, oh yeah, it worked. Oh yeah, it works. Let's do print, what do you want? You want to say event. Okay, you want to save that. So all the architecture is complete. Now let's rock and roll. Let's try it out. So whatever number, we do that one. Key, instead of foo, we say do.json, and see what's going to happen. So here is the architecture. Again, we put it into S3. S3 will trigger a Lambda. It will put the items on the queue, and from the queue will leisurely taking the data out, right? So let's run that. Perfect. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So we should have the data on the S3. Lovely. Do.json. Now this do.json would trigger high volume S3, which is a trigger here, which is gonna put the item on the queue, right? Once we have the item on the queue, we can check the queue. We can refresh it. Of course, it's gonna come there. What I'm gonna interesting what I want to show you is this Lambda. So if I go to monitoring, and I should see that message on the CloudWatch, but you got the idea. See the entire flow of the process, right? How to create all of these things. So if I go to the CloudWatch, I think it should be there, the log, hopefully. It might take a while also because it's on the queue, right? So it might take a while also, so gotta be patient. Okay, so we do have some logs. I think it worked, the last part, because the queue, the queue should trigger. Look at that, guys, that is amazing. Oh yeah, it works, and you have that entire JSON that came from all the way from here to here, and then in this Lambda, of course, you can process, you can do whatever you want, use AWS layers. That's pretty much it. I mean, a lot of people were asking me, hey, Sawmill, create a video on high volume S3 processing. This is an entire video from scratch where I taught you how to create a queue, Amazon, like Lambda. We created an ImRole, the user and all of that. So if you really did enjoy these tutorials, a simple way would be just liking the video and sharing the video to people whom you think it might be useful. That's it for this video. As usual, guys, keep smiling, keep coding, and if you have any more questions, kindly do list your questions in the comments. As and when I get time, I would really love to get back with you, get back to your questions, as I said. So thank you for watching, and see you guys next time.